We share this planet with many different living organisms. Many of you have reached out to learn just a little bit more about that. Do they all come to life just like Frankenstein's monster? Or is there a little bit more to it than that? I found out. Anthony Ferdinandi is a high school biology teacher. He knows everything there is to know about living things. So he was the perfect person to ask. So you are a high school biology teacher?
Correct.
Is it weird knowing things that you can't see?
You mean like cells?
Yeah.
I don't think it's weird because you can see them with a microscope.
But how do you know the microscope isn't just a camera?
I mean, I'm no cameraologist, but I feel like you have to have some kind of film or something in it to record, and the microscopes are basically just a couple mirrors and lenses. So
you were talking about cells. Do they look like prison cells?
No, not at all, actually. Right, so we know plant cells, where in plants, they kind of look like little rectangles for the most part, and then animal cells, they're a little more fun. They're kind of all squishy, so they kind of be whatever shape.
You said the animal cells were squishy. What does that actually? Would I be able to?
Just do this.
Oh, so these are cells.
Correct. You're made out of cells.
So what is the most important thing that you teach your students?
Think critically. A lot of times, there's information out there you can't believe. Sometimes I'll try to throw them off too. Right, just see, make sure they're not falling for, stuff that's not true. So like sometimes I'll throw out some misinformation and see if they smell it out. So like last week, I told them that elephants actually, the babies come out of the trunks.
The elephant eggs come out of the trunk?
No, elephants give birth to live babies like humans. They don't lay eggs.
What is your favorite unit in biology to teach?
I think evolution is, just because there's so much that we know about it, but then there's also so much that we don't know about it.
What is evolution exactly? I know we came from lizards, right, crawling out from the water, and then they got out of the water and they learned to stand, and the lizards turned into monkeys, and then the monkeys turned into you and me.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what it is. There were some lizards, and they were like, man, this water thing is getting kind of played out. So they stood up on their legs, walked out, and they're like, oh no, I'm kind of cold. Threw some hair on their body, started listening to smooth jazz, and here we are now.
Was the smooth jazz integral to the evolution?
Yeah, I honestly don't think we'd be where we are without smooth jazz today. Smooth jazz, bananas, the sundial, I think were all important technological advancements we made that we wouldn't be able to live without today.
There are a lot of living things out in the world. Rocks are not living, correct?
No. D-Rock is living, though.
The Rock.
Dwayne. He's living. Yeah, he's alive.
Because it's not moving, so obviously it's not living.
Well, plants don't move. They're alive.
I've seen a plant move. But then there's things like fire that moves. It can grow. It's kind of in that in-between state.
Right.
Do you know, is it alive?
I can say that it's not alive.
One time, I had a fire. Mm-hmm. I was gathering all of my close friends.
Right.
And we were
How many of them were there?
Maybe 7.
That's a big number for you.
Of us, yes. It was a great time.
Great.
I had at least 20 other people that couldn't make it last minute.
Right. They were busy.
Mm-hmm. It was kind of just last minute.
Yeah.
But we had a fire. We were making s'mores, and at one point, the fire made like one of those pops,
Can you recreate the sound, just so I know exactly what you're talking about?
It went something like.
Right. Okay, I've heard that before. Yeah.
And then it exploded, and it burned a hole in my shoe. And you're telling me that that's not alive?
Correct.
Do you think you could teach me something about how a tree grows?
I think I could try.
That'd be great.
So do you know where trees come from?
Seeds.
Great. Do you know where seeds come from?
Trees.
You've already got 90% of it.
Wow.
So those seeds are usually designed in a way that will maximize the reproduction of them. So like they're in fruit, so that way animal will eat them and then poop them out, and then they'll be in optimal growing conditions, or something along those lines. So that seed gets into the ground.
It digs itself a hole?
Yeah, seeds, if you watch them closely, if you look at them under a microscope, they have a bunch of little tiny like pincers.
Claws.
Yeah, and they just, once they get on the ground, they just scoop it up.
Seeds are very much like crabs.
Now you know where crabs come from.
From seeds.
Right, so that seed burrows itself, and then it just covers itself back up with dirt. What do you think comes next?
It's a tree.
No, it needs some important things first.
What does it need?
Some water, basically. It needs some nutrients in the soil, right? Some stuff that it could eat. So yeah, once it has those things, the inside the seed is a little tiny plant, and then it comes out of the seed, and it just grows.
Did you hear that?
Are you okay? Yeah, so then they start off as baby plants. You know, they cry all the time, and, you know, they need to baby things. And then they get to be like kid plants. You know, they learn how to ride a bike. They still cry a lot. They always have Cheeto dust on them.
How come I've never seen a plant riding a bike?
Just because they're so small. You know, the bikes are really small, and they're pretty shy about it. So, especially for someone like you, I think they'd be easily intimidated by your appearance.
So they get Cheeto dust.
Yeah, you know, kids always have some kind of chip dust on them, just like a fact of life, right? And then once they're kids, they become teenage plants, right? So they're listening to music.
I'm assuming it's like a human.
Right, it's just like
they
humans
become an adult.
Yeah, they have a
plant.
sweet 16, then they go to college, and they come back. They have to start paying taxes. They get stressed out at their new job. And they go through all those things, and that's why trees are so cracked. Like the bark is always like cracked and kind of rough because they're so stressed. So those are kind of like their wrinkles, actually.
I really appreciate you explaining how this works. It's something I've always been curious. You know, trees just sprout up out of the ground.
I feel like there's a lot of things you're curious about.
Out of nowhere. And now I know. Now the fans will know.
I think most of them probably already knew.
It sure is nice to know that plants go through very similar struggles and life cycles as we do. I know I can relate a little bit more to them than I could before. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I'm Arron, and this has been Ask Arron.